sick as fuck. Ooh.
The Del Taco case was a driving force behind Peter's prosecution in the killing of Tyron Hughes. We want to know. It's not about him.
Right there, you hear from.
What is up? Back from PA with a cold. Woo. Tired. What's up, Sub Nation? Sorry, I thought I pushed it for noon, and I think I did like Central Time. I have no idea what I did, but this live was originally supposed to start at lunch hour, so I guess it was put for 11. So I apologize about that. A little bit under the weather, trying to bounce back. PA always gets me sick. Touching things up here for the live Q&A tomorrow night, Tuesday night at 9 for episode 1. So I'll be recapping basically the last 28 minutes. So today is whatever you want it to be day. I know a lot of things are going on in the true crime community. I, for one, haven't been paying attention. Literally worked morning, noon, and night on some things. Thank you, Charlie Faith. Awesome party. It was really cool to see some people that are subs and members of the channel make their way out. So it was nice to meet those people. I came back with a gift of a cold. So what's up, Danny? Dan, you like this time? Good morning, Miss Wilson. Carly Joe, what's up? All my people in like the UK, overseas, you gotta love this noon time. What's it, like 6 for you? That'd be my guess. So yeah, Sub Nation, your questions, if I even have an answer. Let's talk about what you want to talk about. Love this tea time drop. Just gathering bombshells. So, the latest bombshell, Miss Megan Barbuto taking it to social media. I'm actually gonna have a separate live all for that tonight. But yeah, Miss Megan Barbuto went ham, and good for her. Good for her. I'll tell you all about that this evening. But she went. I mean, I would have done the same thing, but yeah. You know what? It's funny because everything I've been saying has happened. Frank had Rachel followed, just like he had Megan followed, and Megan went ahead and told the world about it. So history is repeating itself over there, and like I said, I'm gonna do a special live about it because I do think that Megan's life is, you know, Frank is trying to ruin her life. Whether or not that ends with her death, or if he is just trying to literally take her kids from her. But like I said, I'll go into all of that later on. But Megan took it to social media. Why is he following Megan if he put a PFA out on her? Will episode 1 be posted as its own video? Yes. Episode 1 will be posted as its own video. Actually, right now, I am in the process of uploading it.
Of Sheldon Jeter Jr.'s family. Wanting to.
So, to answer that question, MD, yes, episode 1 will be posted. And then Tuesday's follow-up, actually, my board here already has my main points on it that I will be covering. So episode 1 will be in its entirety. Plus there's 5 exhibits that go with episode 1. The website will have those exhibits. Jordan is in the process of getting that stuff up there. I feel like everything's always a process, but I apologize, I have a cold, so. The tea time, yeah. So what's good? I know people want to talk about probably Brian and Gabby. What do you want to talk about as far as that goes? You're not going to get me to move much on the fact that people have rights. And we'll talk about a little bit about the timeline, though, and using somebody's card, someone's credit card. There's 2 ways that they would get information on that. The first way would be that, you know, if it was like Gabby's card, well, they're going to be pulling, when I say they, law enforcement. And it's crazy, guys. You guys do know that the FBI is the one that's handling the Denver FBI. That's the same people that handled Chris's, just so you guys know that. So a lot of those names, I'm very curious to see the names that pop up. I wonder if we're going to be running into some of the same names from the Denver FBI that was involved with Chris's case. But I would love to know the dates of those purchases, because I didn't know if they gave, did they announce when Gabby, time of death? So I'm curious to know what date they're saying that Gabby's life was taken. Young lady, make a hot toddy. What's that? Sounds like a fun night. Did you see Dog is on the Hunt now? Yeah, I also saw it's $30,000 or something like that, with a $30,000 reward. So, how about let's go to this one? Let's go to the Neighbors. Oh, it's up to 250,000. It was 30,000. 250,000. Yeah, it was 30K. So it must have went up. It was 30K. I don't know. Danny wants to know why people are, why is everybody in Wyoming trampling around what could still possibly be a crime scene. You know, that's YouTube for you, I guess. I think that's going to be anybody, though. It doesn't really matter. I don't think YouTube. A lot of people are nosy. So a lot of people that don't have anything to do. Yeah, let's go. 250,000 and growing. It's insane how quickly it'll bring all the dogs out. Well, so let's go back to this. Let's go to this. Let's go to the, let's use logic here. Let's go to the neighbors. And the number one thing that you're going to do is you're going to question the neighbors. So, you know, the FBI questions the neighbors and they talk about this camper. Okay, so this camper. Well, sometimes, I should say sometimes, a lot of times, people are going to tell you in law enforcement, hey, I mean, we can't make you stay quiet, but we're trying, you know, with this investigation. So if you would please not talk about, you know, things. So they can't, again, make you not talk. They can advise you, you know, for the investigation. So then you got CNN, I believe, was the ones that did the interview with the neighbors and said, well, we saw them leave. The truck had attached camper to it, and it was their son and the two parents, and we just thought they went for, like, you know, a long weekend camping trip. Okay, so, you know, did that camper return? Is that camper on the grounds? Is it in the backyard? Is it in the driveway? Then they would run a report to see if, in fact, this family owned a camper. What's up, Michelle? So my question is does the family own this attachable camper? And Danny's saying the camera crews picked up the neighbor talking to a dog, and they said they last saw Brian before his trip. Hello, chat love. Yes, smack it. Smack the thumbs up. So my guess is that the FBI told these neighbors to keep that hush-hush. Then they were either paid to talk, or, you know, is this even true? Who knows? I'm guessing it's true, but they were asked not to talk. In my opinion, the couple who gave the interview didn't have a clue what they were talking about. Yes, because they had just moved to the area. They had just moved there. And they, in fact, thought at first that Brian and Gabby went and, like, got a new place to live or something, like got a house or something like that. You know, I think it'd be interesting for me to go right now and ask my neighbors questions like, hey, so what has, you know, that person that lives across the street from me, what have they been doing? And just to hear, like, what they would say. What's been going on over there the past 3 weeks? Have you seen, you know what I mean? People coming in and out of that door. But yeah, they didn't, I mean, they saw them doing yard work, and then they saw them leave, and they saw them come back. Thanks. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it. So, you know, did they own a camper? And did they, in fact, go camping? And if they did, what did they talk about? That's even saying that they went. But the number one thing that you would look up is did they even own this camper? And if they do, okay, then you would want to locate this camper because it would have plates on it. So where is this camper? Has anybody seen this camper? And like I said, for the past 48 hours, I have not looked but more than maybe 3 minutes on it. But that's your logic, that's your common sense, is you're gonna see if they even own a camper. Now, that doesn't mean that they couldn't have rented one. I don't think he came home. I bet that dad helped drive the van home. You just have to go back to a lot of things. There is surveillance. 7 stops, guys. 7 stops with gas. Danny says to Crystal, the amount of misinformation is unreal. If I don't hear it or see it with my own eyes, I take it. Yeah. Amen. Amen. Oh, so it is the one that's sitting in the driveway? So then why when the couple was interviewed, did they not say, oh, it's that right there? Like, yeah, that's the one that they took. I mean, it made it seem like they just got this brand new camper, if you actually read the article. They pointed to it. It is sitting in their driveways. So that would be listed to the parents. You're gonna have to get was it? Well, those couple, their statement would give them probable cause if they said they saw Brian get in it. So they would be able to obtain, everything. You have to do it the right way. It takes time because they're dealing with an investigation that they want to have end in a conviction. So all the police, everybody involved, all the different agencies, you have to do it by the book. So therefore, there's no issues coming at trial. They got the camper when Brian came home. Yes, Brian came home, they say. But again, this is your eyewitness. This is the eyewitnesses that's saying, we saw Brian, they were doing yard work, they then get into camper, and they then leave. But I don't have the facts straight. That's the whole point, is that people don't have the facts straight. I don't not have the facts straight. Why are you listening then? Oh. This is no different than reporting when something's, we heard gunshots, so we go take a camera crew down there and stand by a house and say, oh, we're standing outside here, gunshots were heard, breaking news, we're gonna stand right here. Why do I care about what? You're the one that cares, sugar. But here you go, why don't you do this? Why don't you have a nice day? Take care. Oh, funny. It bothers you that you talk. It does something. I'd rather talk with someone who admits to not having all the facts and working through them with us. Yeah, I mean, that's what you do. Geez. Nobody has the facts. That's the whole point of this. Like I'm saying, I'm telling you, those neighbors were probably told to, like, read the discovery, what they told all the people from Thrive with the Chris Watts case. Please don't tell anybody that you were on the phone with Nikki when she got into the house that day and that you were talking to her. Law enforcement tells you when you turn over information to please keep it to your chest. Keep it close. They don't want things hindering it. And the hinder is the media, big stream media, big time media. Have we seen one surveillance picture of Brian doing anything? And the answer is no. When he used these cards, they have not said that it was Gabby's card. Okay. In fact, it could have been his parent. Like, he could have been using his parents' card. He could have been using her parents' card. Or this other person. I mean, again, this is all alleging. But by an investigation and their due diligence so far, they were then able to obtain, because they got, like, they used their thinking caps in order to put out an arrest warrant for him. Okay? Legal way of doing it, and they found that loophole, which if he was to use a card that he was technically not authorized to use, can we do something about it? And if you cross state lines, yes, you can. So that's what they did. And the lawyer made that perfectly clear in his statement when he did a couple sentences got released, that this is in no way, shape, or form that Brian is being brought in based on the demise of Gabby. I'm not sitting here defending Brian either. I'm sitting here talking about the facts and talking about procedures. Do I think he could have left the country? I don't know if he would actually need to leave the country. I think Brian, I mean, again, this is thinking, I think Brian, I watched Gabby's friend talk for like 5 minutes. You know, she said that Brian is really he's capable of living in the wilderness. I don't know if that's true, which I believe it probably is. Nobody goes, you know, off van life and all that stuff if you don't like the outdoors. So I think that Brian could be a lot of places. Has it been discussed yet? Did Brian take his firearm to out west with the van? Did they bring that firearm with them? Because something that I still think is strange to this day is that van was not searched when the August 12th incident happened. They didn't ask them to be able to search it to see, like, you know, what if there was blood in the back of the van because they had a prior incident and, you know, someone got slapped. I mean, they've been on the road for months. And the way that they were being, oh yeah, here, you want to search the van? Go ahead, search the van. So let's say they would have found a gun. You're going to leave 2 unstable people with a gun. I'm sorry, they're both unstable. (22 and 23) unstable. Just showing some support. Good morning. Yes. The Incognito Gypsy. Hello. Let's scroll back up. Going back to Granny's watching. Speaking of the Watts case, did you hear a certain someone compare Gabby's location with the oil wells? I haven't been watching any of those people, but I'm sure I can only imagine. I do know this. Chris Watts had a Mustang. Brian had a Mustang. I think that Brian's awkward in terms of, like, how I think Burke Ramsey's awkward. How I think Chris Watts is awkward. Like, I think I have the gift of gab. I'm a social person. They're not. But also they're you know, I think they're very insecure people, for whatever reason. Everybody has different reasons why they're insecure. You know, he's a very, like, Brian comes across as very, like, soft, timid, not like a deep voice, you know, unsure. Go with the flow. But Brian asked if he could be dropped off at Delicate Arch if the police would take him there. And then I went to go look at something. And I was looking at when the pictures were taken of Delicate Arch and them being in the pictures, because they were posted the 12th and 13th. And technically, if it happens after midnight, you know, it becomes the 13th. But they had already taken pictures there and already had posted them, but then he's asking the police officer to take him there. So I thought that was interesting. Why would you want to go somewhere that you already, you know, visited? And I'm assuming visited, you know, it was only, I think, was it 18-minute drive. It would have been like a hell of a walk, because they were saying, oh, you might not make it back in the morning to get her. But it was like he wanted to go back there and he was just gonna like sleep out there. I mean, I would never be doing any of this. This isn't my cup of tea. Like that life, camping. But where was that one? Yeah, I wouldn't even be comparing that. That's morning. I heard they just took his personal evidence for data. I knew that they were doing DNA. I knew that they were coming in to grab, and his parents were cooperating with that to come and get, you know, items that would have his DNA on it. So I'm assuming that that's going to be going and being compared to maybe things that were, you know, when her body was processed, if there was, you know, hairs, fibers, whatever would be on her body, whatever would be, I'm actually kind of shocked that they haven't made any more reference, and they won't. I shouldn't say I'm shocked, but they're going to try to keep everything to do with the autopsy hush-hush. And you have to if you're preserving your case. Hold on, I missed one. Yeah. Granny says, you know, Brian would have a great defense, had he not run. I mean, look at this way, guys. OJ ran. OJ ran. The word just got a lot earlier with OJ running, but OJ was found innocent, and he ran. You know, depending on where Brian is and what he's doing, he doesn't have a phone. He hates the media. So, but he has to know that something's going on. He can't just sit here and be like, oh, Brian has no idea what's going on. I highly doubt that. But I want to give you a hypothetical. So here you go. Here's your hypothetical. If Brian drove back the van because him and her were like having an argument, hey, we're leaving. We're not doing this anymore. Let's go. But prior to coming back, the only reason he came back is because they had a conversation about, okay, fly back here. I'm sorry, all these, you know, these things, and then we'll head back. And then when Brian gets there, you know, to leave to come back, she doesn't want to go back. Okay, and he's like, you know, what the heck? This is the only reason I came back here, like, and she wants to say he wants to leave. What's he supposed to do? She refuses to drive the van. She says, take the van, I'll just fly back. Well, is this possible? Could this have happened? Well, yeah, because she's on a mic and on a video recorder saying that she doesn't usually drive the van. She doesn't like to drive the van. And if she wants to stay and he wants to leave, okay, I'm taking the, like, I need money to go. I mean, I need gas. Like, what the heck? Okay, yeah, here. They get the, you know, they take out money, whatever. Or here, take my card. Is all of this possible? Sure, it's possible. What guy says take me to jail over take her to jail? Well, can you just take me? Can I just go spend the night? I think that's something that Chris Watts would say, if you want to talk about comparing people. But they also say that when someone's doing that, they're putting on like a show for somebody. Okay, well, I wouldn't expect that of a 23-year-old to be thinking that he's going to get himself out of possibly going to jail and being charged by him acting that way. So anyways, let's say that she says she's staying and he says he's leaving. The only thing that would make sense to me is to when you were able to talk to your parents when you would get back, and that it was the van and only Brian, would be that your parents, okay, it's because I went and watched the Dr. Phil episode, and Dr. Phil asked, did you know about the August 12th? He said no. The dad said no, he didn't know about it. We found out about like all of you guys through the media. Well, then I immediately said to myself, well, then Gabby lied, or when she said that she needed her phone to contact her parents, she didn't contact her parents. So when Gabby's in the back of the police truck, SUV, and she's saying that she needs her phone because she wants to contact her parents, who did Gabby call? Her phone records would show who she called. But according to her father on Dr. Phil, he was asked this question. Did you know about August 12th? And the dad said, no, we found out about it like you guys did through the media. So when Gabby wanted her phone, who did Gabby call while she was in the back of the, was it her mom? Because I know her parents were divorced. So was it her mom then? But then don't you think at some point when Gabby is not being able, no one's able to get in touch with her, that the mom and dad would have talked and have been like, well, Gabby told you about what happened on August 12th when like the cops pulled them over. Like that, don't you think the two parents would have at some point talked about that incident or no? I'm telling you that yes, if I'm looking for my kid, okay, I'm talking to the other parent and we are going over everything. So, but according to Dr. Phil interview, he had no idea about August 12th. So then hear this out then. Brian leaves with the van because the deal was, like, did he really leave on the 16th or 17th to fly? When they say, quote unquote, he was moving stuff from the house to a storage unit. Well, doesn't that kind of coincide with that? We're breaking up. I left there because his parents were like, you need to get home. This isn't healthy. You know, we broke up when we were there. I flew back. It's her van. But she got me to come back out there and help get this van back. Does that, I mean, is that not a possibility? Because I kept asking myself, who the heck just leaves a trip to move stuff and then just goes back? Like, why can't you, what? I'd be paying people because the amount of money that would cost me in a plane ticket. So let's hear this out then. The parent, no, because with that theory, he'd still be in the presence of when she died, right? No, they haven't put a time of death on when she died. I mean, her parents last said that they saw her through a FaceTime. And that would be on the 24th, 25th. Those charges were on the 30th and the 1st, I believe, or the 30th and 31st. Supposedly with the card. Do you believe the people that saw him and said that they picked him up and he was a hitchhiker? But let's go back to this. If his parents are under the impression that they broke up, he flew back. He was not going to go back there, but he goes back there to bring the van back because that's like, you know, why would he fly back out there and go commit a murder if he was home? Why would he go back out there? What would cause him to go back out there? Yeah, that makes total sense. Who did she call? Exactly. Who did she call? So Brian gets back home. It's no big shock to them that Brian's coming home by himself with the van because he had come back by himself without the van because he flew back because they broke up and is like, I can't do this. Like, you know, we almost got arrested. Now this, now that. You know what I'm saying? It's just like his parents are probably saying, come home. Maybe his parents aren't getting involved. Regardless, Brian lives with his parents. When you live with parents, they know a lot more than you think they know. Come on, they're not stupid. Like, they know what's going on. So it would make perfect sense that, okay, yeah, we went off and tried to do this. Okay, but you're engaged. You're engaged, and now all of a sudden you broke this off. Well, yeah, because we can't do this. We can't make it. And his parents would probably be like, well, yeah, and the police were called on you? Okay, great. So then his parents probably had, we're going away for the weekend. Do you want to come with us? Like, that to me is a normal thing. If they were planning on going camping, you know, they didn't know when Brian would be home. So was their trip to go camping, you know, her and her husband, his parents, was that something that was previously planned? Or when they got there, did they decide that? That to me would be a really key question. You know, can you find that there was maybe reservations to go to some campground prior to Brian ever, you know, or did they just make that happen like that? Because they wouldn't know when Brian would be back. There's so many, I'm sorry, but there's so many variables to this that nobody knows, even if Brian flew home for 6 days and then flew back out there. But let's just go for right now. Like, let's say that did happen. Nobody fucking does that. Like, you only do that if you're intending on not coming back. I believe that he was not intending on coming back. But I think it had to do all about the van. It's a little weird why he would hide out if he had nothing to hide. That's going all off of when you think he started hiding. You know, is Brian suspect number one? Absolutely. Absolutely, guys. If I was Brian's parents and knowing that August 12th happened, and then they broke up and he flies home and he flies back, and all this stuff is surrounding this, and now we have missing, you think I'm gonna talk? Like, no way. Her parents didn't know about August 12th. His parents did know about August 12th. And so did Brian. Obviously, Brian was there. Her parents have no idea about August 12th. So when they came there and are trying to reach out to this family and call the sister, they said, the mother, the father, Brian, and they couldn't get a hold of anybody. Well, that would be no different than me being in a relationship and, you know, my parents not answering my ex's calls because, why would they get involved in something like a breakup? What, you know, it wouldn't have been until, according to Brian's parents, just because of the way the timeline works, is they didn't know that anything had happened to Gabby. So when they want to say they're not they're not helping, when they immediately find out that, what do you mean Gabby's missing? What do you mean nobody has okay, yeah, and now we know my son, they just had this altercation on the 12th. I'm calling my attorney and telling my attorney everything that I know and everything that has transpired since we've gotten back. Like, this is gonna look horrible. We didn't have anything to do with this, but you know, Brian flew home, then he flew back out there, then he drives the van because she says that she doesn't want to drive the van and that she'll fly back, and so Brian drove the van. So his parents, when they see him and he arrives by himself, it's not like, because at the beginning of this, it's like, yeah, you'd be like, wait, where's Gabby? Well, now that's not my question. My question isn't where's Gabby, because you guys broke up. My question would be like, well, how is Gabby getting her stuff? Or like, you moved all of her stuff into a storage unit. Because why? Because you broke up and you flew and you left there and you were never going to go back. If he in fact did that, if he had her permission to drive that van like he had been driving it the whole past 4 months, if she said, take my van, I'm going to fly home, I'm not leaving, I'm staying. But I don't know how to get this van back here because I can't do it. But then you got to think to yourself, well, Gabby, what do you mean you're staying? Yeah, I'm staying. I'm going to meet up with friends. I'm just saying, for him to drive the van back, he's always drove that van. That is not crazy. It's not crazy. No, I don't think that the parents should be ignoring anybody. I think that was advised once they reached out to attorneys. They said, do not say another, don't talk, be quiet. So no, I don't think that his parents are being shitty. I think that his parents were advised to not talk. I think that everything needs to go back to, they have all the information of their bank cards, and But for Brian's parents to think something is off, that she is coming back or that he is coming back without her, I wouldn't be off about that if he came back that week prior to because they broke up. But yet he's flying out there to simply bring this van back. And that's why he'd be coming by himself. Your timeline is way off. Gabby's parents were calling for a week prior to Gabby being reported missing. His parents ignored their calls and texts and even knocks at their door. They only went there, the first time that they went there was on the 11th or 10th is when they went there. I don't think my timeline's way off. I'm saying that parents aren't getting involved. But parents not getting involved in a breakup, they don't know that Gabby, when did it make news that Gabby is missing? When did it make news? And what the parents knew, they went and told their lawyers, and their lawyers told them not to speak. That's all. That's all that happened. Brooke, what's up? Do I think that it hurts? I'm keeping emotions out of this when I'm talking, so yeah, exactly. They ignored the parents prior to lawyers and Gabby even missing. Exactly, because they weren't going to get involved in their breakup. Did the parents call and say, we can't find Gabby? Did they leave a message? I would love to see those messages, okay? I would love to know if they left. Did they text these messages? Did they say, we can't get a hold of Gabby? I mean, what really did these messages say? And so what should have happened is you have no idea when his parents went and talked to attorneys. I'm just saying, just because of when the media reported something, you have no idea if her dad was flipping out in text messages. What if he was cussing them out? What if he was saying, I'm saying we don't know any of this. So to sit and say why Brian's parents did this, that, or the other, we don't know the facts. And I don't believe that Brian's parents had anything to do with any of this, just like the Watts parents didn't have anything to do with it. Unless you're going to put a plane ticket in front of me that shows me that his dad or the mom flew out with Brian on the 23rd, then it's a different story. Now, Granny's watching. What I will say about that is you've been living with these two, and something that happened on August 12th doesn't get to that point overnight. So how were they in your presence? I mean, I'll give you that, Granny. I mean, I don't think that, I don't know if you want to use the word lousy parents. I want to say, I mean, were they being physical with each other? Because I don't think that anybody should be hitting anybody, guy hitting a girl, girl hitting a guy. I just don't think you should put your hands on people. No, yeah, okay, so, but as a parent, what do I do? What do I say? You shouldn't talk to this person anymore. You shouldn't date them. Or I'm not going to let you. Like, they're 22 and 23 years old. I mean, all you can do is not enable it, which would be probably give them, financial means so that they couldn't go on their little van life tour. But I just don't think it's fair to jump down people's throats. Oh, I didn't call them lousy parents, just lousy adults. Sorry, I was trying to read it, as I don't want to put words in your mouth either. I'm giving the lousy excuse for a lousy set of adults. You said a lousy set of adults. So you are calling them lousy adults. Just, we have to be technical here because this is what people do. who ignored another parent's cries for help. Again, we don't know if the cries were for help. You don't know that. You know, what if Brian's parents come out publicly speaking and saying, no, we weren't ignoring cries for help. We were ignoring somebody threatening us. Somebody saying, what the fuck? Where the fuck is I'm gonna fucking come down there and beat the fuck out of you. Where the fuck is my fucking daughter? What? How would you respond to that? I'm just saying, we have no idea what these messages said. Would you respond to somebody that's talking like that to you? You saw him on Dr. Phil. You saw him on different, media outlets. I'm a protective parent. Okay, well, I know that my father's Italian too, and he would probably use some choice words if I wasn't around. No doubt about it. And people don't respond well to that. So, it's when you don't have the facts, I just don't think it's fair to say anybody's lousy here. Brian and Gabby are adults. Brian and Gabby left to go on their new sabbatical. And if Brian put his hands on Gabby and ended her life, he should never see the light of day again. Period. I hope that Gabby's parents want law enforcement to do things the right way so that can happen. Nobody needs to be not in prison on technicalities. So now we are making assumptions of what Gabby's dad said? No. What I'm trying to say is that no one should be assuming what anybody is saying. But we have no idea why the parents of Brian did not respond to Gabby's parents' messages and text messages. We don't know any of that. But by them remaining silent, which is their right, which I encourage people to do, they are being labeled. And they're being labeled just as bad as Brian. Remaining silent and hindering an investigation are two totally different things as well. I have the right to remain silent. I'm going to invoke my right to remain silent. Because whatever I say can and will be used against me. It happens to me on YouTube. It happens because the media wants to spin anything. I've been watching the past couple nights, falling to sleep. I wanted to rewatch some of the stuff with Lacey Peterson, Scott Peterson. And this has nothing to do with guilty, innocent, nothing to do anything like that. But the media and cops flat out lied in that fucking case. Flat out lied. And if you guys think that's okay, then this isn't the channel for you. So you remain silent because people are fucking flat out shitbags. You have to wait 48 hours to report a missing person. I tried to report fucking my neighbor and I couldn't even do it. Moving Brian's car had a red tag on it. The cop said, "We're towing this unless you come and move it." Okay, we're gonna come pick it up then. What do you want them to do? I think if everybody removes emotion though, and you talk about facts, law, then you guys, the law takes a little bit of time if you want the right outcome. I'm not sitting here defending anybody. I'm sitting here defending our rights. You, trust me, would want someone to defend yours, okay? What do you think would happen if Brian's parents went on a podium and said, "I'm sorry that we didn't come forward right away. We were advised not to, but now we are being looked at as animals and not human beings." We have no idea what went on in our son and his fiance's relationship for the past several months as they were on this tour, this van life. But what I can tell you is my experiences of things that happened while they were under our roof, which were da 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 da. I can tell you why Brian said he flew home. I can tell you. So, and do you think a lawyer is going to be like, yeah, that's what you need to go do? They're going to tell you, you've absolutely lost your mind. That's what they're going to tell you. That we are strongly advising against any of this. So what do? Do you listen to your attorney, or do you listen to the news anchor that's trying to catch a big story so that they can advance their career? Do you succumb to the pressure of that shit, or do you put your life first? Granny, if Brian said, I killed Gabby and I want you to help me, then I would agree with you. But we don't know what Brian said, and we don't know why his parents are remaining silent, other than the fact that that's their right. Why aren't they looking for their son? Who says they're not looking for their son? They reported him missing. Why didn't Chris Watts walk outside of the house that he lived in and walk the neighborhood? Because the police told him not to. We're doing everything we can. We need you to stay here. We need you to, you know. I mean, I like to think that I know my son well enough right now, and if you were to play a game of hide and go seek, where would my son go and hide? Could I go and, like, all I could possibly do is help those investigators and say, this is where my son goes. This is where he likes to go when he's, you know, thinking, or this, that, or the other, and tell them. You want them to go out physically searching for him when there's people that are physically wanting to kill them, like take their lives. I just think that this case has taken on a complete path that is unprecedented in terms of just everything surrounding it. This whole van life, that's a new thing. Then him supposedly flying, not flying, no surveillance of any of this. They want the media, they want the public's help, guys, but this is the messed up though. How can you get us to possibly help you when you're not giving us information that could actually, like, lead to that? So, I mean, Gabby's parents, if Gabby was on their phone records, or, you know, on their phone plan, maybe they can just start, you know, releasing some stuff. I don't know. Ping locations of where in the past, God knows how many months they've been together, the different locations that they've gone to, if the phone will go back that far. I mean, this is an unprecedented situation. I think Brian could be anywhere. Do I think that Brian's dead? I don't know. I mean, if he's dead, he would have had to have his firearm with him. I think that would be the way that he would commit suicide. van life has been around for like 100 years, but nobody's ever called it van life. They call it gypsy or just like nomads or free spirits. I mean, that's what I think. So you're at least admitting that there's facts grannies watching. I'm agreeing with most of what you're saying, except you're excusing their unexcusable behavior with facts that I don't want to hear. I know. Trust me, I'm over if I was, if I was Gabby's parents too, both, if you were Gabby's parents, if you were Brian's parents, I'm telling you guys would be doing the same thing if you were that parent, if you were this person. It's And I don't think that either parent is wrong. I don't. So, all I can tell you this is that if you think that Brian's parents are involved, then it is my opinion that they would have been involved the moment that he got home without her, if the plan was to bring her back with him. But he could have lied to his parents too. They think that they broke up. He's just bringing the van back because she's flying back. He's lying to his parents at that point. Is that possible? Absolutely. But I struggle with knowing that Gabby asked for her phone in the back seat. I mean, the first thing I would have done is call my parents, call my mom, call my dad, and said, I'm in the back of a cop car. And they think that I'm the aggressor in a domestic violence situation. Like, what should I do? Like, I'm going to get like, that's a big deal. And so I think the first person that I would be calling is my parents. It would be a tough call at 22 and 23 because you're like, oh my God, the last thing I want to do is call my parents. Like, they're going to go crazy on me. But I don't think you have any other choice. But to find out that she didn't call her dad, I mean, I just think that her dad would have been on the next plane there, like he said. Because he would have been saying things, my daughter's 100 pounds soaking wet. What do you mean? Well, he's the one that scratches on. Well, she probably hit him for a reason. What was she? What was he doing? I don't know who Gabby got her phone though, because Brian went and got it, passed it off. She had it. She said, and then the officers, you heard her saying, yeah, she's talking to her, her parents. Well, she didn't talk to her dad, and her mom never told her dad between August 12th and September 11th that ever happened. Yeah, but I've already talked about this, Mel. When you think that your daughter is missing, at the point that you think that, and two parents are then communicating, the mom, I believe, would say, well, I got a call from her at the beginning of the month or at the middle of the month talking about that she was in the back of a cop car and she was about to get arrested for domestic violence. But on Dr. Phil, he said that he found out about it when we found out about it, which was through the media, that Gabby did not tell him about that situation. So Michelle, maybe the scratches were the result of defending herself. I agree. It could have been numerous things. The bottom line is I'm trying to talk about the fact that Gabby said she was calling her family. We know that she didn't call her dad because her dad says she didn't call me. I want to know when the last time you were like in the back of a cop car and they're just so like, oh yeah, here you can use your phone, you can do this. I guess nobody was under arrest, but they were basically, that's what they were talking about is, well, one of these two have to get arrested or, you know, they always used to play that game with us with cops. Okay, you're going to call your parent right now and you're going to tell them what's going on because it's the last thing that kids want to have to do. And you're pretty much treating them like kids. So why wouldn't the phone call made to a parent? Making sure that they know about it. Oh, because you can't, you know, that's not for adults. I mean, do you think that anybody should have been arrested on August 12th or no? Do you think that the van should have been checked out? Do you think the van that should have been opened and checked? Gabby distraught, Brian gleeing. Brian reminded me of Burke Ramsey in that everything that he did. Anyways, I just think that the van should have been checked. I mean, they on the outside looking in, these are two like scrawny little individuals, like, but they labeled as a mental health crisis is what they labeled it as, mental health crisis. Well, mental health is like the number one leading cause for so much stuff in our country right now, that, you know, I don't know. Yeah. I don't think the guy wanted to ruin her life and have it on her record. I really don't think that. All you have to do is ask Kennedy is, hey, do you care if we check your van? Do you care, you know, I want to make sure that you guys don't have any, you know, you don't need probable cause if you get permission. You're missing the facts there. But way to still watch. And I just wanted you to be able to comment again so I could show everybody that you still watch. Have a great day. That's why you're only timed out. See you later. What that person just wrote is 100% false. Okay? The mom and dad never talked, A. Or B, your kid is missing, you file a missing persons report. You file it, meaning you go down to the police station and you file, and they're going to ask you a bunch of questions. Things that, all random type stuff. You don't think that the mom or the dad at some point in filing a missing persons is going to say, well, my daughter and her fiance were pulled over and she was almost arrested for domestic violence. No, why would you say that? Because do you think that they're going to go look for your daughter? No. Do you want to put your daughter in bad light? No. But if you really want to find your daughter, you tell them the truth. So, did you know about the August 12th situation? Yes or no? The father told Dr. Phil no. Gabby said she called her parents. That could be her mom, that could be her dad. So at no point until it was in the media did the dad know about August 12th. When I say the media is when that body cam was released. So that's when the dad found out. So if the mom knew about this, she never told the dad. I don't know how something like that slips your mind. I don't know how something like that slips your mind at all. Especially when you want to talk to the police department. That's why I said, Shannon, you're going to treat them like kids, call their parents. And if Brian removed himself from the situation, or maybe Gabby said, leave, and you're not taking my van, so he leaves. But that doesn't come like after that hour and 15 minutes that we saw her. That doesn't seem like how she would handle something, but let's say that she did. So he flies back because she's like, this is my van. Get away from me. This isn't working out. So he flies back. He moves all of her shit out. Why the hell would he fly back there? Oh, I'm so pissed. I'm going to go hunt her down and go kill her and then take her van back with me. Sorry, no. Yes, Miss Wilson. Gabby said it herself. Yep. But I'm only going off of if they were both trying to cover for each other. Like he's saying, "Oh, take me to jail instead," and she's like, "No, he didn't hit me. I was the one that was hitting him," and whatever. I'm saying when you're not, it's hard to. Gabby lied to the police, in my opinion. Gabby said that she was contacting her parents. And maybe that's why the fucking police let her go. Because she contacted her parents. Who knows? Probably flew home, told his parents. That's impossible because Gabby was still alive when he flew home. He flew home supposedly on the 16th and came back on the 23rd. Gabby's FaceTime with her mom on the 24th or 25th. I would just love to know if he in fact ever flew back home and then flew back out there. Because you'd have to seriously ask yourself, why in the fuck would anybody do that? What if when he was in on Dr. Phil, the dad said that he used or he let her use his Domino's app or whatever? Well, I would like the dad to what was ordered on that Domino's app? How much food was ordered? Was it food for, was it a large pizza and 2 salads? Was there 2 salads on there? I would love to know the order for the Domino's that day, whatever day that happened, because I would love to know whose DNA is in the van. I would love to know whose DNA is on her body. Granny says, apparently just 1 pizza. Okay. What was on the toppings? Because if it's just me ordering myself, for me, if I order for me and Jax, it's half plain and half what I like. If it's me ordering for myself, it's gonna be all what I like. So what was on that pizza order? And was in fact just one pizza? Was it who was she calling? Who was he calling those 5 or 6 days? And guys, this is so easy to tell. There would be your phone records are going to put you on cell towers. Was Brian getting phone calls while he was in Florida during those 6 days? Boom. Okay, yes, then he was in Florida. There's going to be plane tickets, but I want to know why there is no surveillance being shown. Can we see what Brian may look like right now? Because if you, like, the most accurate thing is going to be the police body cam, because the videos that she was putting together, those are from like 2 years ago, a year ago. Those were not from this past trip. Maybe a couple clips were, but the majority of the 7 minutes and 54 seconds was not from this trip. Okay, so then he flew back. She didn't want him. Why would he fly back? Why was he moving stuff into a storage unit that was hers? I'm just asking a very logical question. Why would I fly back, and why would me and my dad move stuff out of a house into a storage unit? Why? Because all of a sudden my dad was like, I need more space. You got to get this shit out of here. So you're going to fly home and you're going to help me, and then I'm going to fly you back. No, that's not going to happen. It's not logic. I mean, if that did happen, just how stupid is that? But what would be logical is that Granny, thank you. Thank you. You just nailed it. Was the storage rumor even confirmed? Is any of this shit confirmed? No, because the police and the FBI aren't saying anything. And if Graham Coder is on the job, you know what he's doing. He's just sitting back, waiting for Tammy Lee and the CSI team to get involved too, so that him and Tammy Lee can just go tag team Brian when they find him and get him to be the next Chris Watts. Oh, we'll get him. Watch this, we'll get him. No, something is not adding up in this investigation. And this is the difference when, I'm telling you, when you remain silent. Make the police and law enforcement do their job. Period. Don't let them trap you. Do the job. Let them do their job. Let the media know nothing. And because just like everything that the media is involved with, you know, other things are going to start taking precedent on TV channels, because everybody, when it comes to media, is ADD, and it's just on to the next. And if it's not, you know, if they can't make up, you know, these fake headlines, then they're on to the next. And the only way they can make up fake headlines is if people run their mouth. Be quiet. Don't give them a reason to try to talk or say anything or twist your shit. And so the only information that's going to keep this in the news is if Gabby's parents continue to be vocal, but if they put pressure on law enforcement. And they're going to have to do it, and it's going to cause issues between that family and law enforcement. Because it's either going to be like, either you're going to trust us to do our job, you know, or because I'm going to say something that I don't know if anybody's said yet, and I don't care what people are going to say because I said this. It doesn't fucking matter if Brian right now is caught tomorrow, today, or in 365 days, or if he's ever caught. You don't need him to build the case. Go build your case. You have all the digital forensics. You hopefully have forensic evidence that was at the crime scene, circumstantial stuff. Go do what you would normally do. This whole looking for Brian is a fucking huge distraction, and it's keeping all of you guys from asking way more important questions. That's what's happening right now. And that's what they want. They don't want you to ask important questions. You don't need to know where Brian is. Brian does not need to be in handcuffs. You think that he's going to talk? You think that once they find him and they sit him in a room, what do you think he's going to do? Oh yeah, let me just tell you what I've been up to and what's been going on. Can you pour me a cup of coffee? Thanks. No, he's not saying shit. You're not getting anything from Brian. That's never going to happen. And go build your case. Go get your digital forensics. Go get your eyewitnesses. Go build your timeline. But all of this looking for Brian, that's just a distraction. And so I want to know when people are going to start asking the media, or when the media wants to start asking tougher questions to law enforcement. What are those important questions? If there's a suspected murder on the loose, yet he needs to be found, then why haven't they issued an arrest warrant for the murder of Gabby? Why don't you ask yourselves that? They had to find a loophole, and they did. Why didn't they issue a, you know, an arrest warrant for the murder of Gabby? They have surveillance on him. Joan, we can all rest now knowing that we don't have to fucking see your avatar, your doggy. So also, I think what's telling, I'm just scrolling back up because I missed some of these when I'm chirping. Gabby was in the cold, the heat, wild animals, maggots, bugs, and flies. Unless she had a bullet in her skull or the skull was cracked, they don't know how she was killed. I think for them to come out and initially and call it a homicide, I think that there was probably had to be something significant. That's my educated guess. So normally, based on the different like insects that would be present on the human body, you know, based on so long of decomposition, you're going to be able to narrow down some times of death. That's what interests me, was knowing what this Brent Blue wanted to say could be the possible time of death. Brent Blue did do the autopsy. He was assisted by a forensic pathologist, but I wanted to know why why it wouldn't be like reverse roles there, but whatever. I mean, Wyoming is a little backwards, but I think that no doubt about it, they know a lot more, but I don't think that they can connect the dots because they don't connect. So that's a problem. Whatever is going on right now is problematic for them. Otherwise, I do believe that why wouldn't there be an issue for Brian's, arresting him for the murder of Gabby? I mean, the media seems to think that he's so guilty, but yet law enforcement has done nothing like that. I just think that there's a hiccup right now, and it'll come out, but it won't. I mean, it's going to come out slower because everybody in big time media wants to go do live coverage on where Brian is. Where Brian is has nothing to do with this case right now. I'm sorry, it doesn't. I mean, I just put myself in the shoes of Gabby's parents, and I want to know what happened to my daughter. I want to know what the hell went on from August 12th on. I want to see phone records. I want to see cell towers. I want to see Facebook Messenger app. I want to see Instagram app. But they're not going to be able to probably show you any of that. I want to see Snapchat. And they're just going to tell you things like, well, we're preserving an investigation. But if I wanted those questions answered, I'd probably hire a private investigator. That's what I would do. I don't think that he filled up 7 gas cans and drove them and pulled off the side of the road and did all that. But I think that he would have had to stop. I just can't believe that none of these nosy people that work at gas stations weren't like, I mean, some time did pass, but not the 30 days. So I just can't believe that these nosy people that work at the gas stations weren't like checking out their stuff to be like, okay, let's see if he came. I mean, we're on the path that he would have taken. So maybe what I need to do is do a live and talk about all these different gas stations and say, because we're coming up to that 30-day mark, and go live and be like, okay, did you work at this place? Did you work at that place? Because run your surveillance, run your camera. I believe, Jen, that the reason they went to get some DNA from him is, I believe that it has stuff to do with Gabby's body. The van, whatever they have as physical evidence, I think it's to compare, not necessarily that a body that they found to compare. If it's him, it has everything to do with what they were doing in their investigation. Law enforcement doesn't have her phone correct. I thought they did, but heard differently today. Nicole, all I know is I don't believe that they have either one of their phones. They're going strictly off of phone records and the pings from those. You can still ping. I mean, depending on who their provider is. Now, if she had an iPhone, you have an iCloud. Depending on what was in that van, if she has a laptop and she was plugging her phone into her laptop, was she syncing everything to the cloud? Was it being hard stored? I mean, they probably have way more than you imagine if she was plugging her phone into her laptop, which if she's doing stuff like making those videos. I'm assuming that she's probably working with eye products. That'd be my guess. Yeah, I've never heard them say that they physically have her phone. Just like they don't have his phone. Or I'm sorry. He left. He didn't have his phone. So his phone may have been at the house with his wallet. They may actually have his phone. I don't know about that. I find that hard to believe though. But maybe. How did you become so knowledgeable on this stuff? I've learned so much from your videos. CSI Miami. I just had to say that. My background is in criminal justice from the University of Cincinnati. Go Bearcats. So, and then when I'm bored, I read a lot, I guess. So I know that someone said, good evening from England. Yes. Here's one thing I'm going to end. I'm going to give you guys a little bomb explosion here. Where was it? I'm on a high dose of allergy meds. I feel you. That's what I'm going to need. Right here it says, well, then what questions? Wait. What are those important questions? If there's a suspected murder on the loose, yes. What are those important questions? I've mentioned actually a decent amount of them in the beginning of this episode, in the middle of it, and then I'm gonna, what I would want to know. Things like, okay, oh, thank you, Shannon. Wish I had you on my son's case. Well, that's very, very humbling to hear. Thank you. I believe in timelines. Everything is timelines. That's actually everything that I'm doing right here for Sunset Secrets. Everything has to do with a timeline. So, and I don't put too much stock into eyewitness accounts. Now, if you had an eyewitness that said, hey, yeah, they came to Bullwinkle's bar, she was riding the mechanical bull, and he was drinking water out of his tin because he refused to order water out of a plastic, drink out of a plastic cup. And the reason I remember that is because he made such a big deal about it. Something like that would be that's a really good eyewitness. Now you ping up their cell phones and that they made calls from being inside of that. Boom, there you go. Now we're going to take the receipt of when they were there. We can then put that on the map. They were at this place. A girl doesn't stay by herself somewhere for 7 days. And I followed, and they were in Salt Lake City, which is where the airport is. So did she just remain in Salt Lake City for 7 days, living out of a hotel? She just lived out of a hotel for 7 days. Well, I mean, your hotel is going to cost you anywhere between, I mean, 60 is so cheap to $150 a night. I mean, that's a lot of money. Again, there would be all of this someone had to pay for it. But the hotel would have surveillance. Like, did she have any visitors? Who was coming and going? Who did she talk to? If Brian, in fact, left, what were the circumstances that he left under? Were there text messages to prove these circumstances that they left and they broke up? Or the reason he left was because his dad was being a huge jerk and whatever, he needed to go move stuff out, because I just believe that text messages would prove that. I think that there's questionable DNA possibly found in that van. And when I say questionable DNA, I'm talking about multiple DNAs. So let's say that let's say that a gun was touched and there was like 3 DNAs on it. Well, you got Brian, you got Gabby. How could there be a third? Who else was around them with them? And they possibly touched this gun. Now, but Brian took the van supposedly across country. Who's seen him? The surveillance on, like, you could literally, with the digital forensics that we have the ability to do nowadays, we should know so much about everything that he did, that she did, and nobody's asking about that. No one's saying, well, what did she do for 6 or 7 days by herself? Did she lay up by the pool? Her friend said that she likes to go to like ladies' night. So did she go to did she find like a ladies' night? Did when she was like missing, or when she was there for 6 or 7 days by herself, did she contact her friend that she met off of Bumble? I don't think that he's dangerous, Jen. I don't think that he's dangerous at all. I think that he's dangerous, I mean, maybe to himself, but no, Granny, what I'm trying to say is, if you have all of this and you can present a case against him, why isn't law enforcement putting out a warrant for his arrest for the murder of Gabby? That is what you guys should be asking yourselves. Why? I mean, treat it like this. Treat it like this. What if he was just sitting at home? If he was just sitting at home, so if he's just sitting at home, do you guys think that he would be arrested? They need autopsy results. You don't think that they have the autopsy results? What do you think? They're probably maybe not toxicology. Like, I mean, do you think that he'd be arrested? So if he was sitting at home, would they issue an arrest warrant for the murder of Gabby? So, Granny, you're saying they have circumstantial evidence? No, I didn't. So basically what you're saying is they don't have enough to convict. But what, do you think that that's like puzzling? But yet everybody and their mother thinks he's so guilty. But yet there's been nothing issued. Yes, Lexi, they would arrest him for that. But, well, they would arrest him for it because it'd be an alleged, then they'd have to prove their case on fraud. Do you need evidence to convict for a warrant? You need probable cause to issue. So, like, So for example, let's say that Gabby was shot and it was with, and there was shell casings right by where her remains were. And Brian is a registered firearmsman, and it's the same shell casings, that they match the same caliber of the gun that is registered to him. Then you have the circumstantial evidence that puts him, I mean, this would be no different than the Sheldon Jeter Jr. case, which is all circumstantial, all that you would build. And I mean, they arrested Sheldon within 24 hours for the murder of Tyreek Pugh. So I would think that they have plenty to arrest him on, but that there's something else missing. When I say missing, that there's also evidence that could possibly make another person the perpetrator. That's what I think. And so I don't know if that would be multiple DNAs somewhere, and that's why they needed a sample of him to rule out what was his DNA, what was hers, and what was the third party. I believe they're also, I don't want to say necessarily not in a hurry, because if he's not able to be found yet, it's not like they can arrest somebody that they don't know where they're at. So they're just not putting that out there yet. But I think there's a lot of pressure. So that's, with that pressure, then you have to ask yourself, why there should be enough to arrest him. Especially for everything that's going on with the media. No, I think there's a lot more different than with Chris and I honestly don't think that either one of those cases are that much actually alike. Chris was basically questioned within 10 hours. Gabby could be technically missing from the 26th on. So that's just a lot. It's a lot of time. And then if the autopsy came back and it wasn't what they wanted it to be, then that's problematic. I just keep going back to this. Sheldon Jeter Jr. was arrested within 24 hours, and there was no autopsy results back. So that's not it. It has nothing to do with the autopsy results, I don't think, at this point. The FBI isn't putting out this much effort to arrest someone for credit card fraud. No, the FBI was they were just using a loophole. We have no idea if he committed credit card fraud. That's just, I mean, you can put a warrant out there to arrest anybody, but just because you arrest somebody doesn't mean they're guilty of it. Whatever they had in order to get a judge to sign, that is leading to, like, yeah, it's the probability of them committing this crime is high. Yeah, that's that's a judge. So it would be if there was an ATM if Brian's being seen physically on an ATM, punching in a PIN number that's not his, and that would be enough to know that, okay, that's not your card. That's theft. I mean, now, what if Brian's seen on another ATM a week prior to using the same card with the same PIN? Because they're just, I mean, they're just sharing money. I think that's a technicality. I think that's a loophole. That's what I think. But they should use it. They should use whatever they can get. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's not for the arrest of a murder. And that's what, in the eyes of millions, has happened here. So... For the act of using a credit card, I'm gonna go with this. That the time that they're gonna label her time of death, okay, is that the cards that they were used after that, which would be that nobody could have consented to you using those cards after they had died. Or if the cards didn't belong to Gabby and they belonged to her mom or dad, then I could see that's how that could occur. We don't even know if he was using her cards, guys. He could have been using her parents because she had a card that was in her parents' name. They've never specified that. You know, whose cards did Brian, I mean, did he use his parents' cards? I mean, shit. I'm telling you that, yes, her parents' cards, yes, means no permission, 100%. I'm saying that. I'm just letting it basically stated that it was basically stating it was hers by the slip of an attorney. It's doing my head, and I want to listen to Atlanta. So, wait, what? Gabby's last known day alive was the 27th. The card was used the 30th. Brian home the 1st. I've broken down every which way possible for Brian to get the fuck home. Woo! I mean, I don't see how that trip is taking anything less than... No way less than 40 hours. I mean... 15 minutes per stop to get gas. You sleeping maybe 3 hours. That's how I came up with 40. And sleeping 3 hours in a 40-hour period of time. That's insanity. People did say around about where, like, where she was found, but I don't trust anything. I don't trust anything. It was totally like $1,000, but wasn't it like $250 like 4 times or something? It was something weird like that. I'm sure Granny's got that on speed dial. I like the name though, Granny. I'm gonna give you that. Huge fan. Ugh. Bumblebee, you gotta be loving this time. Mod Squad, you gotta be loving this time. Yes, see, increments of 250. Now, wasn't it four increments to make it 1,000? I need to go have some lunch. Guess what? I am taking Canadian Mama to Rudy's for lunch. Isn't that just amazing? Figured if you come over from Canada, you should experience a Rudy's lunch with Shannon. I don't know if you guys know this, but when I was in PA and did the Sunset Secret premiere, Miss Canadian Mama flew all the way from Canada. So she gets a Rudy's experience for lunch with Shannon. Yes, Jean, 100%. Depending on the different banks they use and how they post. It's all very suspect. Was that Canadian Mama and Aunt Lala in your photo? No, it was Canadian Mama, and I'm not going to say their person's name until they give me permission to. I mean, I think that she did, but I just rather double, triple check. Yeah. You know, I think the moral of the story when I'm coming to everything with Gabby and Brian is this is a tragedy that we do not know the facts. And after being on the opposite side of, you know, everything that happened with the Watts case and, you know, Cindy and Ronnie and Jamie being completely torn apart, they did nothing. Okay? They woke up that day just like all of us did. The only difference is that their brother was Chris Watts and he wasn't ours, or, you know, their son. And that the media and the law and the world and the citizens, we have to do better. You know, I think that lashing out and being ridiculous is sad. And I think that more of us need to support our rights for other people, not look down on them for invoking their rights. I agree with that, Granny. How do you think he got home? Just I think that if the van made it back to Florida. I think that's exactly how it got back there. I think that Brian brought it back. I think that the circumstances on how and why he brought it back is very important. And I think that we don't know that. And I think that when we get that information, then that's when you can give more of like, okay, that makes more sense. It didn't make sense in my initial opinion that you don't fly back to help move belongings and then fly back. You just don't do that. There would have been a reason that you would have left, and that reason would have been like if you did have a breakup, or if you were like, okay, we need to separate. Like this is, this isn't okay. And so he went back home with the intention of staying there. Then I could see something like saying, okay, can you please drive back here? You can just drive the home, on my stuff, but I can't drive this van back by myself. And Brian did that. That is a logical scenario that they would have already broken up, and that's why he flew back, and he was going to stay back. And then he flies back out to where she's at to help her then transport this van back. And obviously with her, that would be my thoughts. And then obviously something then happened. Don't know what that something is. It could be they got into it again. This time it led to a homicide. Brian drives the van back. It could be she met up with people that week when he was where he was. When he came back, these same people meet back up and they're all hanging out. And she decides that, you know what? I'm not going back. I'm going to stay with them. You can take the van back and I'll fly back when I want. But the one thing that does make sense is that he would have left there because they weren't together anymore, because there was problems, because it was very problematic, which that goes perfectly with August 13th or August 12th event with everything that happened. They almost got arrested for domestic violence. I know I don't want to get arrested for that. I hope that nobody out there would want that either. So you want to separate yourself from somebody so it doesn't happen. And that's what you do. And and so you leave. But now you want to throw in the mix that there's a storage unit involved and possibly stuff being moved from the storage unit or from the house to the storage unit. Now that would coincide with a breakup as well. Then the only reason you're flying back is to help her bring this van back so then she can get her stuff and to go back to New York. But all the while, she's not telling her family anything about this. And at first, I called bullshit. I said, no way. No way you would be talking to you'd be talking to your family about this, about everything that's going on. Well, then I saw the Dr. Phil episode. And I said, the dad says it right here. He had no idea about the August 12th. So therefore, no, Gabby is not telling her dad things. Period. So her dad has no idea what's going on in her life, because it's a pretty big deal, August 12th issue. And her mom and dad, if her mom was told, her mom then did not communicate that with her father. They never then communicated that with the police. Did the missing persons. And that's why I have my my thought is more logical. And now we have a dead person. So is it logical that Brian flies back, then only flies back to Utah to murder and then drive the van? I mean, yeah, if you want to get caught and, you panic, I guess, sure. But But no, premeditated murder, no. Absolutely not. And then what? You just go off and disappear? Like, no. Does Brian normally go, like, hiking and off and stuff? I mean, people lied. The police should have arrested somebody on August 12th like they were supposed to, and they didn't. Brian's parents invoking the right to remain silent. People that are crucifying them for that. Well, then you don't know what the laws in America are and what our rights, and the people that fought for our rights. But I could totally see her being like, take the van. I'm flying back. Getting into another fight, take the van, because I'm not driving back with you. There's no way I'm going back 40 hours with you, you know, yada, yada, yada. So, the other thing I strongly question, I don't question it, it's fact. There's no social media posting from a certain date till like forever. So go take a look at that. And remember, people don't usually post when things are, you know, what was really weird is that they posted on August 12th and 13th, right after that, domestic violence. But if they both weren't like by each other and with each other, but yet could see each other's social media, were they communicating through social media? And I would probably say yes. Go back and read the August 12th and August 13th Instagram posts that he made and she made. And really read it. No, none of this has been confirmed. That's the sad thing, is nothing has been confirmed. The things that would confirm it is a plane ticket or surveillance cameras, and we all know that the airports have them. So, again, to crucify Brian's family right now, I'm just not on board with that. You know, there'll be a time and a place to do that. And how about that time and place can be when maybe there's that third DNA and it comes back as a positive match for, you know, his dad. But go watch that Dr. Phil episode when he says, nope, I found out about it just like you guys did. Well, that, when I heard that and saw that, I was like this, wait, what? I was like, then she lied. She's in the van or in the SUV sitting in the back seat. She said that she was talking to her parents. And she's the one that, you know, they said parents. So just because they're not together doesn't mean she didn't call the one parent and then called the second parent afterwards. But at the very least, you said that you called a parent. Well, and then if your kid is missing, then the two parents would have talked to me like, oh, well, did Gabby tell you about that? What happened August 12th? When they got pulled over and basically Gabby was about to get arrested and somehow the cops just made them separate and sleep separate that night. Remember, he got a hotel and they took care of it. But where did she sleep that night? You would just think at some point there's going to be that conversation that and then you would also then tell the police when you're filing a missing persons. Yeah, even, I mean, neither of them got arrested or anything like that, but there was, you know, they pulled him over because he locked her out of the car, you know, just whatever, like to cast some light on that there is an issue in their relationship. The cops did it. The cops pulled them over, and people called, you know, the police witnessing stuff. So, but none of that's there. And that's just, it's also Dr. Phil. Maybe he cut that part of his episode. I don't know. Granny watching, go back and check. It was, I believe it was her dad that got that information from Brian's parents. That's what my sources say. I will have to look for a video of her driving. The only video I see of Gabby driving is actually of the Nissan. I'd have to go back and check. I mean, clearly she drove it away, you know, after that incident, but Grant, you're welcome. Go check that. I believe it was the dad said it, and it was that the very little that they got out of the parents was something like that. Was something about flying. But I mean, once again, this is all easily, I guess you could say, documented with digital evidence. So. No, there wouldn't have been, no. There was, nothing came about the August 12th because they didn't end up going through with it. She would have had all that had they went through with it, but all they did was basically separate them, and no, there was nothing. Nobody was cited. Nothing like that. That was what's going to happen if they went through with that, but that didn't end up happening. I just want to know who Gabby was talking to in the backseat of the cop car when she said she was talking to her parents. That she wanted her phone to, I mean, because that's a lie. Unless she, like I said, go interview her mom then. Someone call up her mom and ask, hey, so did Gabby call you? And guess what, guys? It's all going to be in phone records. That's what's so great about the phone. I mean, see who she called between, you know, that time to that time. An hour and 15 minutes. Brian going missing. You know, I think I put this out there on a question. I said, I want to know if when they FaceTimed with Gabby, did Gabby's parents, they never said this, they've only said that we physically saw her on this day because we FaceTimed. Well, when you guys were FaceTiming, did you see Brian? Was Brian present in the FaceTime at any point in time? That's, you know, because they said that we were FaceTiming and they were leaving the hotel. They were leaving the hotel. Oh, did you see Brian in the FaceTime video? Like when you were like FaceTiming with Gabby, was Brian, you know, oh, say hi to Gabby, you know, say hi to Brian. So ask yourselves what was ordered from the Domino's app. What was ordered from DoorDash, period. during this time. I mean, plenty of reasonable doubt here. His disappearing makes him appear more guilty. Yeah, I mean, does it appear that to make it look more guilty? Well, not if he's dead. I mean, if he's dead, yeah, no. I think he went really hiking, and then all this shit happened. I mean, I know I would be scared. I'd be scared. Oh my God, everyone's gonna think that I did this. I didn't fucking do this. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I personally believe that the reason that they issued a warrant for his arrest on some capacity is because I believe that then other people could get in trouble if they are aiding and abetting. That's another thing that I believe on why they went to some capacity to be able to issue a warrant for his arrest, so that they could go after anybody that they thought or deemed and were guilty of aiding and abetting. Vanessa, yes, people dislike you, Lana, because you will go on your own and not with a crowd opinion. And people don't have the mentality to do that. Not meant to anyone here, by the way. No, yeah, I don't think that anyone here takes that. Another thing I want to know is why and when each of her parents made her move out of their homes. It was said that from the beginning that both parents threw her out. Thanks, Lana, because that's what people are saying now. People are saying now that she had a court date. That's absolutely not true. But then again, I don't know shit about this case. I mean, I just don't think people fucking read, or if they read, they just don't fucking retain. I am blessed with a photographic memory. Thank you, but I asked myself, if Brian was in a house right now, would they issue an arrest warrant? And the answer is, in my opinion, no, they wouldn't. Because it doesn't matter if he's in his home or wherever the fuck he would be. They would be issuing an arrest warrant for the murder of Gabby if, in fact, they had what they needed to charge this man with criminal homicide. And guess what? Just because you arrest somebody for that doesn't mean you can't re-arrest them if you let them go. If it goes to the preliminary hearing and it is not deemed enough evidence and gets thrown out, you can still be re-arrested for that same. It's not double jeopardy at that point. So I double jeopardy when you actually go through a trial and are found not guilty. Facts. So it wouldn't be like they had just, like, you know, only had one shot to arrest him. In fact, why don't you guys check it out, the Vincent Barbuto case. It just happened. But nobody wants to talk about it, but I'll be talking about it. They rearrested the brother off of no new evidence. So I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm going to have a field day with that one, too. Same DA. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I've never seen DNA collected the way they did yesterday, but what do I know? My guess with that is that the owners of the home are not Brian, they're his parents. And when people want to say that the parents aren't cooperating with an investigation, I'm going to say bullshit. Because I'm going to say everything that they're allowing happen in their home is them cooperating with an investigation. So, but what do I know? Lexi, I'll look into the way that, more specifically about that. But, I mean, Brian is in the system whatsoever. They have nothing to compare it to. So I personally believe that they want to compare his DNA to whatever, like I said, was at the crime scene, whatever is in the van. Let's be honest, what if there's a couple different DNA? What if there's a couple, they were having sex in that van? Okay, I'm gonna say something, I'm not trying to be sick, but they were having sex in that van. That's where they like hung out, whatever. So if there was some sheets in there and a couple different sheets went through and you got two different, okay, you got her, that's hers. We got 3 people here. So who's the third person? So somebody else was in that van. And then you just have to find out who it was. But that might be a hiccup in their case. I don't know. But I bet you it has something to do with the DNA. Though I believe his actions make him look guilty, he is innocent until proven guilty. Yeah, and guess what? That's just not what happens right now in the United States of America, and it needs to start happening. And it's people that are outside on his porch flipping out like fucking ignorant, uneducated people. Like that shit, that's just ridiculous. If people are outside on my porch right now picketing like that, I would tell you guys to get fucked. Because I have freedom of speech. Hey, get fucked, right? But then guess what? That's going to be all over CNN. Lana Oriani tells Natasha Cooper to get fucked 37 times. But anyways, I just think that that's crazy. That's just not human. Like, that's animal. That's just not human. It's not human behavior. And if it is, I don't want any part of that. Oh, thanks, Lexi. I'll double check that. Except he had the van for a lengthy time after returning. Yeah, for all we know, he could have been throwing fucking a brothel and, if there is evidence that puts him in Florida for 6 or 7 days, and there's evidence that puts her in Salt Lake City, Utah for 6 or 7 days, so they're like separated from each other, and then there is surveillance cameras, again, showing her with other people, the mob, yes. If we let law enforcement do things the right way, it may take them longer, but there will be less innocent people behind bars. Those are the facts. Them's the facts. Do your job, do it the right way, and who cares if it takes 30 days to 300 days to arrest somebody, but arresting the right person on the right evidence and not made up evidence, not contaminated evidence, and just please invoke your right to remain silent. Talk to an attorney. If you cannot afford one will be provided. Talk to an attorney. Be quiet. Do not say anything. Period. Love you all. Thank you, mods. You're the best.